term representing New Hampshire in Congress. CBS News projects she will defeat Republican challenger Don Bolduc. The victory gives Democrats some breathing room as we wait for results in other key swing states.
So with more from New Hampshire, now let's bring in CBS News correspondent Nancy Chen, who is outside the Red Arrow Diner in Manchester, where Senator Hassan is expected to speak a little later today. Nancy, how critical was the race for Democrats in their hopes of hanging on to the majority in the Senate?
Hey there, good morning to you both. This was seen as a potential bellwether of if there would be a possible red wave. You have Democratic incumbent Senator Maggie Hassan, who won her second term. But really, this was something that alarmed a lot of people going into election night because she was up against far-right Republican candidate or hard-right Republican candidate Don Bolduc, whose controversial views had included questioning the integrity of the 2020 presidential election. And polls had shown a tightening race just even a couple weeks or a week or so going into election night. However, what I'm hearing on the ground and from political operatives is that candidate quality did end up mattering here. You have, there's a B right next to me. That you have Hassan, who is, it's part of being out here. But it's one of those things that you have Hassan, who has decades of political experience, including serving as governor of this state, and Bolduc, who is a retired brigadier general but has never held political office. He had garnered a lot of support in going through town halls. However, at the end of the day, people are telling me that candidate quality did matter, and that's what seems has carried Hassan to a comfortable victory.
Nancy, don't get stung like some candidates did last night.
There you go.
Nancy, the projected winner in the governor's race there is incumbent Governor Chris Sununu. What role did split ticket voting play, though, in propelling him to victory?
Yeah, and Sununu is a popular Republican in this state, and he was widely expected to win. He did his fourth term yesterday. But when you talk about split ticket voting, it is interesting to see, and it speaks to how purple of a state New Hampshire is because of, voters still sending incumbent Democrats back to Washington, including two-time Congressman and now will be serving his third term, Congressman Chris Pappas, who won over Republican Trump-backed candidate Caroline Leavitt, who was a former assistant press secretary for him. And so you really see how voters ended up going for the candidates and the issues particular to that candidate rather than going along straight party lines.
So this race that you're talking about right now is one of 6 Republican-held governorships up for election in a state carried by President Biden in 2020. What should we keep in mind when we are looking ahead now to 2024?
It really has enshrined the Granite State status as a purple state that is up for grabs. And the reason that is so important, especially when we talk about New Hampshire, is because this is still very proudly first in the nation when it comes to primaries. And so what happens here does make a difference because it builds momentum, especially as we talk about 2024. I mean, this is where in 2016, President Trump had one of his first big breaks. And speaking of President Trump, his influence was talked about a lot going into these elections nationally and what that would mean. But both Trump-backed candidates that we were focusing on, Bolduc and Leavitt, who had those endorsements, they did not fare very well here. And it speaks to raising questions about how effective President Trump's brand here is in purple states like New Hampshire.
Nancy Chen, thank you very much.